have a ton to cover, right? We have a ton to cover today. So without any further ado, I'd like to dive in. I see some of you have written in the question and answer panel where you're from. I'll ask you just to use the chat panel. That way you can not only engage with me and my staff, but I think you've got the ability to engage with each other there too. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to begin a screen share here in just a moment. We're going to dive in and start covering the content. We have a lot today. If you do not already have something to take notes with, get it now. You're going to want to pay attention today. I'm going to review some things in detail that can absolutely make a difference for you. And this isn't like a weight loss plan where it takes weeks or months to see a result. It's stuff you'll actually be able to apply today, right? So that's one of my promises that I'll make to you today. So please go ahead and grab something to write with, be prepared to take some notes. And I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Jose, great question. He's asking if this is being recorded, and it is. I get it, right? If you get a call right now from a client who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, take care of that client. Absolutely. We're recording this and we have your back. Now, I'm going to dive in here, guys. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to get started. So the first thing you're going to see is just some tech that I happen to have up on this screen. Now I'm going to press play on the PowerPoint and you should be seeing all sorts of good stuff now. So I am finding the chat box here. Here we go, because I do want to pay attention to this during the session. All right, so I'm going to pull that chat box over here where it's right in front of my eyeballs and we're going to dive in. So you are here today for one reason, right? And that's exactly what you see on the screen. This freaky looking guy in glasses teaching you how to turn contacts into contracts. And we are going to cover this. We're going to break down the math. We're going to show you the path you can follow that will work, right? That's my promise to you. If you're here and you're like, I just heard about this, I thought I'd check it out. You probably want to have a little bit of background to know you're in the right place. So let me cover a few of those things for you now. If you're experiencing any of these problems, if you've ever experienced them, my goal is to get them solved for you. So, raise your hand if you're confused about working your database. Like most people are. It's tough. It can be this thing that you need to get to that you almost never do. And one of the big problems there is not just how do you work it, but even if you get it organized and you get everybody's name capitalized and you have the right information in there, what the heck do you say to these people, right? That's a big question. What do you say to your leads? What do you say to your past clients? What do you say to your neighbors and your friends? It can't all be the same thing. And, we have to acknowledge that for people pursuing a career in professional real estate, there's a roller coaster ride that you get to go on. I call that the feast famine roller coaster, right? That's where you get so busy that you don't have time to do the things anymore that got you busy, right? So you have a bunch of closings and then you've got this open air in front of you. It's like the ground falls out from under your feet. That does not have to happen. That is a choice on your part to live that way. So one of my goals today is to make that problem go away for you. Now, if you've got a lack of clarity about who you should be working with, we're going to spend a little bit of time on that. Life is too short to work with people you don't like, period. It just is, right? Think about that client whom you love, who lifts your energy, who is an absolute joy to spend time with. That's the person you want to attract more of. And that there's no magic wand or hocus pocus or spell to do that. It's science. You can figure out exactly how to attract that person. And we're going to cover that a bit for you today. And Peter, I see you. You're in the life insurance and Medicare businesses. Yes, we can absolutely help you. So, there's a fundamental truth, right? No matter what business you're in, no matter what business I'm in, we're people. And if we're going to achieve a specific goal, there's a path that we have to follow to achieve that goal. And regardless of what the business is, the steps on that path are very much the same. So you'll get value here, Peter. Thanks for asking. So next area, this can be a problem, right? Can you safely buy leads? Are you profitable enough? I mean, how tempting is it? You get the call from the realtor.com or the Zillow sales rep, and they're saying a zip code's just opened up. We can cover you up with leads. Wouldn't it be great if you had leads? And you're going, gosh, I know it works for some people, but will it work for me? Like, how do I know I can actually buy these leads and have it work? So, that's something that's very critical. And my promise to you is that these are problems we'll solve today. And further, we'll have fun doing it, right? So, again, a little bit of housekeeping. I'm watching the chat. That will not change. So just like I answered Peter's question as it pops up, my eyes are peeled for yours. The way to get the most out of any of these sessions is to be involved and to ask your questions. Sometimes you may ask a question, I'll see it, and I'm going to hold it because I'll be covering that content later in the session, or because I'm at a place where I don't feel like I can pause yet until I can answer that question. By the way, those of you who may be here because you're wanting to buy Happy Grasshopper, you're in the wrong place. So my staff is standing by. That's our phone number on the screen. You're welcome to call, and we'll put you on with someone who can help you with our services. This is not a sales pitch for Happy Grasshopper today. That's not what we're doing. And yet, that doesn't mean we don't want your business, right? Of course we do. So if you are here because you'd like to use Happy Grasshopper, or even just investigate whether or not it's good for you, I'd suggest you go to happygrasshopper.com/tour. Okay, that's the place where you can just go ahead and schedule an appointment, and a member of my staff will listen to you, right? They'll understand where you are in your business, and they'll help map out the plan that's going to get you specifically where you need to go. So, whether you're a new agent, an experienced agent, whether you're on a team, whether you own a team, whether you run a brokerage, or you're brand new, the right place to start with us is at the tour. So there we go, guys. We've got a bunch of preamble out of the way, and it's time to start dropping the truths, right? So here are a few things that are fundamental beliefs in my life. I'm going to share them because if these don't resonate with you, you probably shouldn't be here. Like, save your time. You could go on. It's okay. It's fine. I believe that part of what our mandate is to continue to improve throughout our lives. I've experienced firsthand, if I'm not working on improving, I don't feel very happy. It's hard to maintain a sense of feeling happy if we're stagnant, right? And so I don't want to be stagnant. I want to continue to improve throughout my life, and I want to help the people I'm privileged to serve continue to improve in theirs, right? Second truth I'll share is that you matter. You specifically matter. This morning, I met a friend and client of mine. We went to the horse track. We met at 6:30 in the morning to watch the horses wake up and start to warm up running around the horse track. And we're sitting our coffee and we're having little bits of conversation. And he told me about a message he sent someone for their birthday. And that person got his voicemail drop. And the way that they responded to him was really amazing. They were at a place in their life where they really needed to hear from him. They really needed to hear from someone. 2020 has been tough, guys. I believe each of us has an obligation to serve our fellow human being by reaching out and letting them know that they matter, right? So I'm doing my part right now by telling you that you matter. You absolutely do. You have the power to make a positive impact in the world. And whatever area of life you're finding challenge in, whatever area of life the people you're working with find challenging, here's the universal truth, guys. It gets better through conversation. It does, period. I know that to be a fact. That is the tattoo I do not have. I know for certain that the world gets better through conversation. And I know that because I've experienced it firsthand. I'll give you a little background about myself for those of you who might not know me. My name's Dan Stewart, and that's what I used to look like. Imagine that. That's my wife, Clie. We've been married for 25 years. Along the way, I've started 7 companies, a few of which have been absolute dumpster fires and a few of which have been highly successful. I'm really proud of the career I've created and the prosperity I've been able to create. But more than anything, I'm proud of this group of nuts. These are my 3 kids and my wife and I there in the back. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? You ever been in a meeting where people ask what your why is and nearly everyone says their family, their children? I mean, I get it. And, you know, the way life has worked out for me, I can say that everything really started to change and improve when I stopped worrying so much about like running a script and learning to be this sales tactician that could manipulate everybody to do things. The change really started for me. The improvement really started for me when I decided to just slow down and really tell my story, right? So I'm going to encourage each of you to recognize that not only do you matter, but people need to know that you matter, right? You've got to find the place in the ground you're willing to plant your flag and defend that and say, this is the kind of career I'm going to build. These are my standards. I will defend these standards. These are the kind of people I want to attract. These are the kind of people I want to serve. These are the kind of results I want to achieve. By becoming certain in that and then sharing that with the world, some really amazing things can happen. A couple of years ago, I got invited to speak at the Harvard Club. Like, I never expected that to happen. Right? I wrote a little ebook called Seriously Happy Selling, and all of a sudden I'm speaking about it in the boardroom at NASDAQ. Like, never expected that to happen. I've been really fortunate to be invited to travel all across the country and Canada. You know, in a typical year, I'll probably have 25 speaking engagements. In the year of COVID, 2020, most of them have been done online. And you know, all of this, like I'm sharing all of these things with you because I didn't have a lot of advantages starting out. I was raised in an environment I did not like far too many kids. My parents were, they were afflicted with their own demons. I was raised by alcoholics. You know, we had food scarcity issues. We had abuse issues. We had all these sorts of things that, you know, could be excuses and reasons not to pursue a real quality life. And yet just by choosing to, you create the opportunity for that to happen. So, you know, I'm broadcasting this today from this farm that I live on in Tampa. And, you know, you may see here on the screen, this detached garage has now been converted into my office. That's where I am right now. That's where I'm broadcasting this to you from. And I'm sharing these things for a very important reason. Like, this is not about impressing you. This is about impressing upon you that no matter where you are, your dreams are possible. You can achieve these things. I know for certain that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And, you know, so I want to challenge you to share with me, what do your dreams look like? Let's make this interactive. I want to hear some dreams. Tina, thank you. Farm Office Envy. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I appreciate that. But what are your dreams? You know, what do you want to accomplish? We're all here at different phases of life, different phases of production, different levels of success. Win the lottery. Yeah, that's a great one. Own your own scuba diving boat. Okay. Having a great retirement. I can relate to that one for sure. Horse farm. Absolutely. A retirement so I can travel. That sounds wonderful, Cammie. Appreciate that. So all of these goals, these dreams that are flying in right now. I love your answer, Larry. Build a business I'm proud of that serves my community. That's absolutely my goal as well. Making sure my kids are happy and healthy. Beach house for retirement. I might know a realtor or two who can help you with that dream. Want to pay for kids' college and not put them in the spiral of student debt. Like, that is absolutely huge, right? You know, these are great dreams. Pay off my house. After so many years, stop the roller coaster and live without worry. Murray, I freaking love that because, I put these slides up and it's easy to imagine that this has been an easy journey. It has been an incredibly difficult journey. Looking back, I can see it didn't have to be as hard as it was. There are some key lessons along the way that I feel an obligation to share. But yeah, that roller coaster is a choice, my brother, and you do not have to ride it any longer. We're going to get you off that. Bambi's got books to write. I love it. Want to have a business that gives more than it takes. Mark, I love that. Like, there's so much good stuff here, right? So much good stuff. And the more clarity you have around what you wish to experience, the more likelihood that you'll create it. So, part of that is not just knowing what you would do, but also knowing what you wouldn't do. Now, I just took a vacation. I went skiing with my family. We went out to Park City. We had a great time. And I made a commitment to myself that I would not be checking my email and my Slack and my phone while I was gone. And I did not do that. That's a hard thing for an entrepreneur to do. I mean, how hard is it just to set the phone down over dinner sometimes? So to do it for a whole week felt like a monumental achievement. And, so the process here, right? You got to be really clear about what you intend to achieve. You got to be really clear about what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. And then to help provide that energy to get you over the hump and create it, you got to imagine how it would feel to have achieved it. Like, you're this thirsty, dehydrated person slogging through the desert, and you can imagine that beautiful oasis and that first cool sip of ice cold water and how good it's going to feel, right? Now, for us, because we're business owners, right, whether we're selling real estate on day one or whether we've been at this 500 years, we are business owners. That is the truth. And I want to wake up every day knowing that my business will produce the income that allows me to live my dreams. Now, if you can agree with that, if that sounds like something you would like to achieve, please give me a yes in the chat. I want to see that. Bam, 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 bam. I don't see anybody disagreeing. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right. I love all these yeses flying in. Thank you for those. So we've said that no matter what's ailing us, conversation is the cure, right? And what we're doing right now is one form of conversation. Like, I don't want you to just observe this. I want you to participate in it. That's important. So, conversation is absolutely the cure. And what a bonus, that conversation also leads to contracts. That's a brilliant observation. It does. If you want more closings, you must have more conversations. That's absolutely the truth. And by the way, let's take a moment and acknowledge exactly how important conversation is. I've been married 25 years. I've got 3 kids. None of that happens without conversation. Like, do you love someone? The way you know that you love someone is through conversation, right? The way we raise our children is in conversation. The way we negotiate our contracts is in conversation. The way we negotiate peace treaties, right? The way we solve the problems of the world, the way scientists develop vaccines for global pandemics happens inside conversation. It is innate to the human condition. We cannot avoid having conversation. So we want to have really good conversations. We want to have the right conversations. We want to know we're starting the volume of conversations we need to have that will allow us to achieve our goal, right? Now, another observation is that wherever we have a goal, we inevitably encounter some pain. Does that sound right? I mean, it's not easy. Didn't Edison create 1,000 light bulbs that didn't work before he invented one that did? Or did he actually steal the light bulb idea from somebody else, right? There's so much of this like fluff around what are supposedly facts. It's hard to understand. But anybody who's learned to ride a bicycle knows that you didn't just get it on your first pedal. Like, it took a try or two. You got to work at these things. You are going to encounter some problems. And those problems I like to describe as pain. Okay. So all of us, let's just take a moment and get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. Jerry Seinfeld said that pain is knowledge rushing in to fill a gap. I just heard this. I was watching an episode of comedians in cars getting coffee. And I saw this and I was like, oh, that is so brilliant. That is just absolutely brilliant, because wherever you are in your life, like you get out of bed in the middle of the night, whack, you bang your shin on the bedpost. That's knowledge rushing in, right? That's knowledge now of where that bedpost is rushing in. And, so if you in your business, you're at the peak of the roller coaster, you're so busy, and then you've got this gap of no business out in front of you, that's pain. That's knowledge rushing in. That's what that is. If you've spent a bunch of money on lead generation, you've got all these leads in your database and you're not converting them. That's pain. That's knowledge rushing in, right? So before we go any further, let's have an honest conversation about what's hurting right now in your real estate business. So I want to see this in the chat. Tell me what's hurting today. And Thomas, I love that you're here. Thomas Achea. This is awesome. So go ahead. Tell me what hurts. Where's the pain? Not enough conversations. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can solve that. Okay, here we go. Here's the flood. Losing deals to agents offering lower commission. Personal interaction due to viral restrictions. Unorganization and no systems. The follow-up. No referrals with sphere of influence. Being a small organization. Keeping committed to calling FSBOs. Not enough listings replacing sold ones. Up against large teams, connecting with leads, no leads. I've done open houses and no luck due to already working with a realtor. Lack of inventory in the area. Random marketing versus strategic marketing. Yeah, all good points here, all good points. Too much non-work, sucking up my time. Like these are issues here. And I love that you used the word suck, Sarah. I love that you did, because the very next thing I want to share is something I call the cycle of suck. Right? This will sound familiar to every human being. We've all experienced this, right? There's no judgment here. We've been on this path together. We start with intentions. We have very clear intentions. This year is going to be the best year ever. We have those intentions. We start to take actions towards achieving those intentions, and then, pain. We encounter some pain, right? And as soon as we encounter that pain, it impacts the actions that we take, right? So oftentimes the pain is so bad that we say, oh, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going to do that. We're just going to do something else instead. We create a new set of intentions. We take a new set of actions. We encounter new pain. And then we say, oh, well, that didn't work. Well, let's go back and try something again, right? We got to break this cycle, people. We have to break this cycle to get you off the feast famine roller coaster. It's very important to do that. And, rather than riding that ride, we need to get on a new path, which I like to call the path of mastery. Okay. So the first thing that we do, the very first thing we do when we enter this path is narrow our focus. We have to narrow the focus. We have to. Like, so many of these comments coming in, like, the person who says, Sarah, too much non-work, sucking up my time. That's a great example of needing to narrow that focus. Julia, how to keep up with a large SOI. Narrow your focus, right? Connecting with leads, narrow your focus, right? Not having leads, narrow your focus. That's what we need to do. And rather than just taking any action, we have to take measured action, right? Measured actions are different. A lot of times we do things and we don't understand how much time we actually spend doing it. Like, I'll grab my cell phone here for a moment. You guys have screen time on your iPhone? I love how screen time is like, Dan, you spent an average of 4 hours per day looking at your phone last week. Ouch. I love that that's a measured action though, right? I love that it's being measured. So one of the things that you can do to make your measured actions is to book appointments with yourself, right? A lot of people refer to this as call blocking, which sounds so painful. We're sales professionals. Appointments sound wonderful. Like, that's opportunity. Appointments, our brain loves that. Where call blocking, it's so negative. We're blocking calls. We don't want any part of that. So sometimes just making a slight shift can help us have success where we haven't. So as we narrow our focus, we're measuring our actions, this leads to predictable results. There's no alternate outcome here. Now, that doesn't mean the results are always good, right? It means they're predictable. And the idea is that when you narrow your focus, you commit to a set of actions for a period of time, you're measuring the results of those actions, it gets very, very predictable, right? So, friends of mine who've grown their career from 10, 15 transactions a year to 50, 60 transactions a year to 150 to 500 transactions, to my clients who have brokerages doing hundreds and hundreds of transactions a month. It doesn't happen by accident, right? It happens by narrowing the focus, measuring the actions, and achieving those predictable results. Now, the real problem, I believe, is that we're not often asking ourselves the right question. What is the right question? I believe it's how to affordably grow your real estate business. Think about that. If you're brand new, if this is your first day in real estate, that's the right question, right? If you're an experienced agent, you've been at this for a long time and you know exactly what to do, that's still the right question. Like, if you have a team or you're on a team, that's the right question. If you're a managing broker or you're building your own brokerage or you're running a national franchise, that's the right question. So ask yourself, what can I do today to affordably grow my real estate business? What is the answer to that? How do we do that? And the solution, I think you'll be really relieved by, is nothing less than being awesome. So if you want to affordably grow your real estate business, the best, fastest way to do that is just to be an awesome human, right? So how does that sound, right? Oh, Dan, that's not the answer I'm looking for. What do you mean, be an awesome human? How do I do that? How do I show up as being awesome in the world? Well, first, let's cover why, right? People want to work with awesome people. I met with Anthony this morning at 6:30. I got out of bed early to go meet him this morning because he's awesome. He's worth it, right? If I ever sell this place, he'll be a guy who will definitely have an opportunity to list it. I mean, wow, right? Relationships matter. Being awesome matters. And it's not enough just to have people wanting to work with you, right? You want to have people talking about you. And a great way to create that is to show up as an awesome human being in the world. Now, if there's any better news than this, the answer is that it's free, okay? It costs you nothing to be awesome. And yet first, we have to really define what is it to actually be awesome. How do people identify another awesome human being? Well, I want you to give me the answer to that. What feels awesome? When you meet someone who's awesome, how do you know? How do you know? Go ahead and tell me in the chat. What shows up as awesome to you? They take an interest in you. If they're a good listener, great. Good energy, positive, fun, vibrant, personality, love it. Immediate connection. Yeah, isn't that special? You meet that client and you just feel like, oh, click. Love when that happens. Mary Ellen, they ask about me. They're considerate. They express integrity. You feel it. Authentic connection, kindness, selflessness, positivity. Love that one. Yeah, so, there's so many answers to this, right? We could go and go and go. We could get hundreds of different answers of how people show up. So the key is to understand the ones that resonate for most people, okay? So awesome people lift others. They do. So, the person who said positivity, you're absolutely right. Awesome people show up in the world with a positive energy. They're optimistic. You'll rarely catch them complaining. Like, I don't know if you can hear it. It just started pouring rain outside. Like, it doesn't matter. It's fine. No reason to complain about that. Awesome people lift others, right? So if you want to be seen as awesome, make it your mission to like shine your light wherever you go. Make people smile, right? Another thing awesome people do is keep their word. They do what they say they will do, period. So important to do that. So important to do that. And it's so hard. Oh, like this isn't an ethical thing. This is a, oh my God, we're all so busy thing. Every single person who's here at this session probably considers themselves to be a professional. Like I can presume that reasonably safely. And one thing professionals do is what they say they will do, right? So how many times do we find ourselves saying things like, you know what, I'm going to get back to you on that. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you. And then maybe we're laying in bed later that night and we're going, oh my God, did I get to everything? Like that can be a creator of a major stressor in our lives. And the real cost here, you know, aside from the external cost, the internal cost is monumental. Life is too short to go through it being the kind of person that cannot be trusted by yourself, right? Think about it. If you tell yourself you will brush your teeth every single day, at least once, I hope, and then you don't, like you can't trust yourself, right? I'm just using the simplest task there to illustrate the point. As a professional, your job is to set expectations with people and then fulfill those expectations. It's really, really important. Technology can help you do that today, right? Like for a lot of our members, we create ongoing touch campaigns where early in the campaign, we set expectations that we'll be keeping in touch, and then the campaign does that for them, right? So you don't always have to do this yourself, but it's very, very important that you do this. Now, the third component, and each of these three components, they resonate with people such that you will be regarded as awesome once they realize you lift people, you do what you say, and you express gratitude to others. Okay? Awesome people are validation machines. They are. You know, like my friends Thomas and Lisa down south here in Florida. Like I know them, I remember them, and just, you know, by able to say their names, to recall those warm feelings, like there's a sense of validation there. Thomas, you know, as you're listening to this right now, I hope you're feeling like, wow, I matter to Dan, right? Because you do. You matter to me. You're important to me. So many people are important to me, and they need to hear it. You have people in your life who are important. It's your job to express that. So one of my favorite things to do is to make gratitude calls. Call with no other expectation except to express gratitude for someone and watch how you feel afterwards. That's the greatest reward. The business that comes as a result of that is just it's bonus, right? It's icing. It's pure bonus. Like the way you feel is the real prize here. So let's get down to nuts and bolts here. Let's lay out the plan of what it takes to really win. So we're going to start small, right? We're not going to boil the ocean here. We're going to stick with small numbers. We're going to make things as simple as possible. And as promised in the title of the webinar, we're going to start with 100 people. Now, not just 100 names and 100 email addresses and 100 phone numbers, but 100 people, like solid contacts. Folks who actually know you, right? So we start with this list of 100 people, and then we need a plan. So the very first step is to learn the plan, okay? So rather than teach you every little segment here of why this works, I'm going to walk you through some basic math so you can just go, okay, that's why we do it this way. Now it makes sense. So here's some basic math, and this is developed over 10 years that I've been in business with Happy Grasshopper, and literally hundreds of millions of data points, okay? So I promise you that for every 100 people in your database, there are between 2 and 12 transactions per year, Okay. So if you've got 200, that's between 4 and 24 transactions per year, right? Now, I know you're probably asking, well, why such a big range? Why such a big range, right? And the reason is the relationship. That's what it's all about. The quality of the relationship makes the biggest difference between whether people are really sending for you. So, when I asked earlier in the session about some pain, one person said it wasn't getting referrals from people who are in their sphere and their past clients. Like, there's a way you can address that, and that's by improving the relationship. So we'll talk about how to do that. Now, there are all sorts of ways to build a successful real estate business, right? Let's not pretend there aren't a lot of ways out there. Many of you who are watching today, you're buying leads. So we have to address this here a little bit. I just want to share with you the truth about leads today. NAR tells us there are over 90 million digital leads generated each year for just 5.5 million transactions, right? Wow. I mean, those numbers are startling. If we go back to 2014, there were 4.5 million leads generated per year online for roughly 4.5 million transactions. So now we've got all these additional leads that are generated. And what we're seeing is that one lead is often assigned to, a dozen or more agents. Like you can be competing even with these leads you're buying with a bunch of other agents in your market. Many lead sources are selling that same lead to other agents, right? I know you know this, but there may be some people who don't, right? So if you're buying leads, you have to understand that a good portion of them are nowhere near ready to have a transaction. They're in the dream phase. They're dreaming about someday buying or investing in a property somewhere, right? We see that a lot. And so you get really fatigued as you're reaching out to these leads. You're spending this money to generate them, and they're just not ready to transact. Like, the unspoken hope is that all those leads you buy are going to be really close to being ready to transact, when the vast majority of them, slightly over 50% of them, are just purely in the dream phase, right? So those people who are dreaming aren't going to respond. They're not going to engage yet unless you're sending content that causes them to engage, and that would be non-sales content. So we got to keep leads separate in our minds here from this category of 100, because these leads have no idea who you are. You don't matter to them. We need to talk about people to whom you matter. That's how we're going to pull the 12 transactions out of this group of just 100 people. So we got some more data about NAR, or from NAR, about past clients. NAR says 89% of people would hire the same agent again, and only 11% do, right? That's a big gap, right? This is because agents get so busy trying to handle this new business that's coming in, trying to close the deal for today, that they don't build the foundation that can allow them to build a real business that thrives. So let's do this, guys. Let's get this plan built. Let's get it implemented. Let's help you solve this problem and create these results. So here's what you need to do for this group of 100 people who know you. You need to touch them 41 times per year with a combination of messaging. So 41 touches, 17 non-salesy emails per year. Now, a non-salesy email is not about real estate, right? It's a message about something interesting that you can use to start a conversation with them. And 17 touches per year, that's once every 3 weeks that email goes out. Now, that's not enough. You also need to send 6 to 12 conversation starting text messages per year, and 6 to 12 ringless voicemail drops per year. Now, I wanted to get both of these on the screen at the same time because they're going to follow the same flow, right? So the email, that's about content not related to real estate. Your texts and your voicemails may be related to real estate. So let's break down these 6 to 12 messages. First message should be their birthday, right? And they should receive both a text and a voicemail drop. And the way I like to do this is to beat the rush that happens on everybody's birthday on Facebook today. I don't want to compete with all that. So I like to send a text message a week before their birthday saying something along the lines of, hey, it's me, Dan. Am I the first person to wish you a happy birthday? Right? I get tremendous replies to that message. It's simple, it's easy. And then I want a voicemail drop going out on their birthday. And that would say something along the lines of, hey, it's me, Dan Stewart. Just want to reach out and say happy birthday. Hope you're awesome. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you have big plans. I know you're busy. Let's touch base after the big day is over when you're not so busy. Anyway, just thinking of you. Talk soon. Bye. Like simple conversational message like that cuts through the clutter of everybody's notification that they're getting on Facebook on the day of their birth. So that's a birthday message. Second message that should be in there is their transaction anniversary date. That should also be a text and a voicemail drop, right? That should happen. Then we've got 4 messages, which are quarterly lead harvesting messages, okay? So a text message that says something like, hey, Thomas, do you have a few minutes? I could really use a hand. If I text that to Thomas, he's going to reply. He's gonna. And when he replies, I'm going to say, oh, I'm so glad you reached out. I would love your help. We desperately need to find people in your area who are willing to sell their home. Do you know anyone who's thinking of moving? Right? You turn the conversation towards the objective with those lead harvesting messages. The idea is a short, simple text that gets a reply, a short, simple voicemail that gets a reply. Those go out once per quarter, right? Then we have 6 more messages. And those 6 messages are simply holiday texts and holiday voicemail drops. So I love Thanksgiving, by far my favorite holiday of the year, not just because of the food, but because we always host. This year we didn't, but most years we host. And that's a great day to send a message like that. So that's your plan, guys. This is your plan. And just by giving you this plan, you're going, okay, great. How? Like, how do I do all this? How do I implement it? And that's the second step. So now we're going to walk through what you need to do to put this plan actually in motion. First thing is to figure out where your contacts are. And they're in a lot of places. You have contacts in your phone, your email, your CRM, your MLS. They could be in literally half a dozen or more different places. And you need to gather them all into one CSV file, right? You need to deduplicate them because you'll end up with lots of duplicates in there. And you also need to title case correct because, whether it's through my company or others, you're going to be leveraging automation and you don't want to send someone a message where their first name isn't capitalized, right? So you want to fix those things as they're getting loaded into the system. It's a straightforward, easy thing to do that makes a big difference. So, there's lots of quality companies here that you see on the screen right now. The process that I'm sharing today is something you could deploy in a number of different technologies. Of course, I'd love it if Happy Grasshopper were the technology you were deploying this through. But my highest value is to teach and provide value that way. So that's really the focus here. Now, let's talk about organizing that database because you could have hundreds or thousands even of different tags or groups in your CRM. And when it comes to messaging people, there's really only 2 categories that matter. It's people who know you and people who don't. So as we're focusing, we're narrowing that focus, right? First step on the path of mastery, narrow the focus. We're narrowing it to 100 people who definitely know us, right? And it's really important because the messaging that we send to people who know us is different than what we would send to leads. So we're narrowing that focus here. And within these groups, we have to understand that people are always going to buy and sell on their own time frame, right? We can't really control that. I know you just bought a home a year ago, but guess what? I need more commission. Time to buy another home. It's not going to work, right? So your job is not to force them to be ready. Most of them are not ready most of the time. Your job is to keep them thinking about you, to know that you matter to them and they matter to you in that interim between those transactions. So the place that you're going to find these 100 people are very likely within your past clients and your sphere of influence, right? So we're not really talking about leads, other agents, vendors, and recruits here. We're really focusing on these two groups of people, okay? So, you know, I don't know, guys. Maybe there are people here who don't have 100 people in their database. Maybe you're like, I don't know where I could even get 100 people. Well, there's lots of ways to do it, right? Oftentimes it'll start by generating leads. So, you know, as you're pulling these people in, again, your job is to take these new people, these leads who don't know you, and help them come to know you, right? And then they're safe to put there. A lead can become a member of your sphere long before they become a past client, right? And, you know, sphere, again, is people who definitely know you, over whom you have an influence, right? So not leads. You don't really know a lead and they don't really know you. So again, for this list of 100 people, we're going to focus just on people who actually know you. Now, next question, of course, now that I've got this organized, is what the heck do I send? And I've given you a recipe. Like, your arsenal should definitely consist of email, text, Ringless voicemail drop, and handwritten card, right? These are the things that should be there. So, you know, again, whether it's us or it's someone else, a short, simple text message will often get a better reply. Like, would you guys like to see the most replied to text message that we've tested? Pretty simple. It's a super simple message. Do you want to see it? I want to know you're still paying attention. Let me see some yeses. Thank you, Michael. Bam, now they're coming in. Okay, thank you, Eric. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So here's that text message. Is this their first name? How easy is that? If you get a text and it says, is this Karen? Is this Thomas? Is this Kimberly? Is this Jennifer? Is this Maria? Is this Joyce? Like, it's hard not to respond to that. You will engage. So this kind of message works incredibly well when you have a brand new lead, right? And yet, if you send a message like that to someone who definitely knows you, it doesn't work at all, okay? I point this out because context is so important. So I'll show you a different approach here for SMSing in just a moment, these texts. So let's talk about voicemail drops for a moment. You can use slide broadcast, slide dial. There's lots of ways to do this. Pro tip is to make your voicemail drop not sound like a radio commercial. If it's, hey, this is Dan Stewart at Happy Grasshopper, you're home for great content where we help real estate agents do blah, 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 like, you already hate me. You do, right? So you want to keep it really conversational, specifically and especially when you're sending these messages to your group of 100, right? So something like, hi, this is Dan Stewart with Happy Grasshopper. You reached out to me about real estate and I'm just following up. So please call me as soon as you get this. It's really important we talk. Thanks. Bye. Right? Conversational is going to win over the radio commercial every single time that you try it. I'm going to give you just a few examples here of ways to do this in each of these different categories. So I mentioned handwritten cards. I love handwritten cards. It's been part of what I've done as a business owner for over 20 years now. I think there's something about, you know, pressing an actual pen to actual paper and putting it in front of people that feels really good in this digital age. The problem is, like, it can take a lot of time. You know, as your database grows and your business gets larger, that's a heck of a lot of cards to write people. So, you know, using automation can be really important. Now, this is one of the cards that we send. We actually have robots. It's so cool. They hold pens, actual ink pens, and they write on these cards. So, you know, looking at this on the screen here, you'll notice this looks like a real human being wrote it. Like, notice how this A looks different from this A. Right? This P looks different from this P. You can see some letters have, the ink is a little more absorbed by the paper than others. There's all sorts of ways you can leverage these sorts of handwritten cards. Holidays, birthdays, transaction anniversaries, there's all sorts of reasons to send them. And I'd certainly encourage you to do that. So again, whether it's us or another service, this should be in your mix. So let's talk about email. Now, I get that it's 2020. Email is still the workhorse, guys. Is still the highest ROI in marketing after all these years. It works incredibly well. According to McKinsey, it works over 40 times better than social media. Like, how much time do we spend on social media? And the reason for that is it's a one-to-one communication. None of us feel for certain like what we see in our Facebook feed is definitely for us, where if it arrives in our inbox from someone we know, it always feels like it's for us. So I'll show you an example here. This is a message we sent for a member of ours in Houston named Randall Martin. And this is a great example of a non-salesy email. This is the type of thing you should be sending 17 times per year. So subject line reads, Blockbuster finally pivots. Did you see this? Blockbuster's last store is now an Airbnb rental. Ha! They've set it up with 90s furniture, TV, VCR, and all the movies you can watch for $4 per night. And call me crazy, but I actually love this. It kind of makes me wish they'd paid more attention to Netflix and pivoted sooner. Speaking of real estate changes, do you know anyone who's thinking of moving, or even someone we could convince to move if they got enough money for their home? Right. So tell me if you would send that in the chat. Give me a yes if you would send it and a no if you wouldn't. Yes, 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 sure. Yes, I see these answers coming. Usually there's some no's peppered in here. I want to see some no's. There's a no. All right, Shauna says no. Jennifer says no. Joyce says no. Okay. Sarah says yes, but with less text. Teresa says this is a good one. Franco says no. Carol says yes. Okay. So here's the truth, guys. If you don't like this message, you should not send it, right? Because keep in mind, we're communicating with 100 people who actually know us. So, you know, if they like me and I like this message, chances are they'll like the message, right? Now, some of you who are saying no here are probably thinking, well, this isn't really about real estate. Like, I don't get it. I don't know that I could ask this sort of thing. And I understand that, right? So I'm going to ask you to press your I believe button for just a moment. Just trust this, right? And, you know, I see Karen is saying, do not like the last paragraph. And John says, leave out the last sentence. And I'm going to show you. This is the reply our member Randall got to this message. So slightly redacted here to keep privacy, but it says, hi, Randall. Hope that you, Vanessa, and your family are doing well. Your last sentence got me, right? So think about that. Your last sentence got me. That's the part that got this response. She says, I've seen some wildly different valuations for our home. We've been talking about possibly moving. Are you able to give me an idea what we could list for, right? 2 construction projects coming up. Like, this is an amazing response for Randall. It absolutely is. And he posted about it in his company Facebook group. He shared this with everyone. He was real happy about the reply that he got. And then a half an hour later, he posts this. Not kidding, just got a second email from a client that closed in 2017 that has been talking about moving to a larger 1-story home within their neighborhood. I had no idea they had the itch. She wants me to set up a search. If both of these were to pan out at all, we're talking between 1.5 and 2 million turnarounds for the sell buy on both. Not bad for an HG email, right? So, I mean, how cool is that, right? You're reaching out to someone to show them that you care, right? To stay in conversation with them without having a sales agenda, and yet it produces a sales result. Like, really, really strong. So one of the things that we do is we write multiple messages each send cycle. And our members, of course, choose the message, right? They decide which message they want to send, and then they have the option of editing the message. So, you know, those of you who might have wanted to tweak that message, you should know with Happy Grasshopper, you have that option to do that. So let's talk a little bit about the tech that you need to put this together. I mentioned slide broadcast before. I showed you a whole screen with a ton of different CRM systems. The truth is, guys, you could run this program with some index cards and a calendar and some sweat. Like, you know, you don't need any fancy tech really to run this, but it sure does make it a lot easier. So it is 2:58 p.m. We are wrapping up this session here in just a moment, and I'm going to pivot now to helping you understand how our technology at Happy Grasshopper can roll out this plan for you. So, I hope that everyone got a lot of great stuff out of the content today. I hope that you've taken notes, and more importantly, I hope that you'll put what you've learned into action, right? So thank you for listening. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for being involved here today. And now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to give you a deeper look at how we can actually help you do this, help you implement this exact plan using Happy Grasshopper. So we have a version of our product we call Chirp, and Chirp is set up to do exactly what I've described for you today. It's these 41 touches per year. It's 17 non-salesy emails, 6 to 12 texts, and 6 to 12 ringless voicemail drops. Now, whenever you put this in place, I want you to have some clear expectations. Okay, so you should expect that when you send messages, you will get replies, and those replies will start to come almost instantly, right? So I mentioned right at the beginning that there were things I was going to teach you that would work as soon as you try them. Everything that I've shown you falls into that category. Like, this isn't weight loss where you have to get up and eat right and exercise every day and hope you see results weeks down the road. You will get replies almost instantly, like Cassidy did. Her first reply came in just 12 minutes. And even better, she only set up 3 contacts just to test it, right? So she wasn't even super confident in this yet. She just wanted to give it a try, and she saw it was working almost instantly. So, here's some data around this. Again, I'm a data guy. I like to geek out on the numbers because in our case, they're so compelling. Over 99% of our messages get delivered. When we look at email alone, we're getting almost double the industry average for real estate. A 38.2% open rate is across our platform for all users. When we look just at those running Chirp and just those focused on this really tight section of their database, these 100 people who know you, we're seeing open rates above 50%. So reply rates are high. You will get lots of replies to email, text, and to your voicemail drops, and it will produce lots of value when you run it. So, again, being a data guy, the numbers are important. Let's break down the value. So NAR tells us average GCI per side is $6,000. Now, I know a lot of you are in markets where you'd be really irritated if that's what you earned. You're far above that. And I know some of you are thinking, oh man, wouldn't $6,000 be great? We don't get that in our market. But we'll just run with these numbers, okay? So let's see, I see, okay, it looks like Maya's handling your question, Lena. Thank you, Maya. So NAR tells us $6,000 per side is the average. If you were to do 12 transactions at $6,000 each, that's $72,000 per year. So what is that worth? Like, if you had a machine you could put money into and you knew you would get $72,000 out, how much would you put in to get the $72,000? Right? There's lots of ways we can look at that. I mean, some of you are thinking, well, I want to put in as little as possible. If I put in $1 and I got $72,000, that'd be great. And some of you are thinking, well, I could put in $71,999 as long as I knew I was getting more out than I put in. So, let's look at the value from the perspective of what you're already spending. So if that typical GCI is $6,000 and you're on a 50-50 split, we know what you're paying, right? We know if you're paying a referral, what that would cost. And we also know that as expensive as that seems, it's still way, way less than hiring a copywriter. Copywriters are expensive, guys. I know, I have a whole suite of them. And, the thing about a copywriter, like a real professional copywriter, they have an ability to take the written word and to turn it into a result, right? They write persuasively that causes people to actually do things. And, their compensation is very much in line with that. So there's a website you can reference called Copy Hackers. And for the type of writing that we do for a typical real estate client, you're looking at about $10,000. just to get the copy. And then you still need a system to send it, right? Now, to run Chirp, we don't charge anywhere near 10 grand. Nothing near that, in fact. It's $47 to start and $470 per year. And that covers those 41 touches for up to 250 people, okay? Now, today I've talked about having a group of 100 people. You can actually have up to 250 people in your Chirp account, and it will produce really outstanding returns for you. So I want to break those down here for you a little bit as well. Now, if you get just one transaction, not 12, but one transaction, and it pays $6,000, well, that would be $1 in equals $11.60 out. I've got some money in the stock market. I don't often buy a stock for $1 and have it turn into $11.60. That's an outstanding return at just one transaction. And of course, the goal is not one, the goal is 12. So that would equal a whopping $139 out for an investment of $1, right? That's a really high return on investment. And that's not possible without the quality of the relationship, right? So remember, the stats say they're between 2 and 12 transactions per year. The way you get to 12 is by having a better relationship. The way you create a better relationship is through conversation, right? So Chirp is the solution for starting those conversations among people you know. And you can learn more about it and you can subscribe to it at happygrasshopper.com/meetchirp. So let's see here. We've got a few questions come in. I'll get to those. So Jenny, voicemail drops. The Ringless voicemail drops are part of Chirp. Chirp includes email, it includes text messaging, and it includes Ringless voicemail drops. And you have the ability to send handwritten cards like the one I've shown you on the screen through Chirp. Those are just a la carte. So you choose the card, you see what it costs to send it. So that's how you can do that. Cami, you're asking if Chirp has analytics. Absolutely. We measure and report on everything. And we also send you a hot sheet every day that shows you what people are doing inside the system with your content. So I like to use my daily hot sheet as a call list. And, you know, as like strong as this is, as strong as this, you know, having it all built in, I feel like the Ronco guy, right? We have more right now. I have this limited time, super cool thing I want to share with you. There's this really amazing company called Revaluate. They are a data analytics company. They are constantly searching the web for data that indicates when your contacts are going to be ready to sell their home, right? So they're looking for things like divorces and graduations and things that would indicate a family's ready to sell their home. So, you know, today we have this really special bonus for you where if you're one of the 50 people who sign up for Chirp and you buy the annual plan, this is important, you could choose to pay monthly, but when you buy the annual plan, we'll be able to include Revaluate for you absolutely free, right? So that means that up to those 250 contacts that you enter there, we're going to send them through the Revaluate algorithm. They're going to report right inside your account the likelihood of your contacts being willing or ready to move in the next 6 months. So that's how we'll handle it. I see a lot of questions are coming in here. I'm going to answer your questions absolutely. Let me just point out that, you know, Revaluate is a highly credible company. Chris Dreyer, their CEO there, he and I have been friends for almost 10 years. I'm really pleased with the results our members are reporting from having this data. So again, I'll put that link on the screen, happygrasshopper.com/meetchirp. You can read all about it and see all that information there. And now I'll get here to answer these questions. So let's see here. Keith is asking, how much do the cards cost roughly? Are they only able to be sent in the US? They can be sent in the US and Canada. Each handwritten card comes with a first-class US postage stamp. We will put the right amount of postage to send it to Canada, but it all comes from our shipping hub in Phoenix, Arizona. Want to be totally transparent about that. If you're in Canada, you need to know that. If you're not okay with it, I understand. That's why it's an a la carte option. The cards start at $3.85 each. There are some that are as much as $5. And then, of course, if you buy them and send them in quantity, there's a lower price per card. So let's see, other questions. Mike, you're asking, does a chirp text come from my cell phone number? Great question. So per FCC guidelines, we must establish a new text number to send those messages from. And the way we set it up is super cool, actually, because if anybody dials that number, it rings through right to your regular phone. And you get to choose your cell phone, your landline, wherever you want that to go. Same deal with the voicemail drops. It appears like the voicemail drop comes from your actual phone number. And of course, you know, if they just dial, they're going to get you, right? Hope that's helpful. Let's see. Karen's asking, will you be increasing the number of people able to join to be in the CHIRP program over 250? That's a really good question, Karen. So some people will know more than 250 people. Like the average real estate agent has about 350 contacts. We're asking you to focus on those people, not only who definitely know who you are, but that you actually like people you really want to have conversations with because they will engage. And yes, this can scale. So we do have plans that scale upward from here, and you can certainly graduate to one of those if you need to. And this seems like a pretty good spot. Like if you think, oh my gosh, I've got tons of contacts. I also have tons of leads. I need to convert them. CHIRP is not for your leads. It's not for those people. So you should definitely go to happygrasshopper.com/tour and book a tour with us so we can walk you through that personally. Ding, ding, ding. Max Mitchell, I love it. If you're already a member of Happy Grasshopper and Story is my agent, should I also sign up for CHIRP? No, Max, you don't need to. We can run CHIRP within the account that you have. Now, I don't know if you have a pro account or a team account or a starter account. Story will have all that information and she can help set up this communication plan for you. Princess, how much? The answer is $47 to start and $470 per year. And thank you, Maya, for putting that link there. Cami, you're asking, do you provide content for each marketing channel? We provide content for email, for voicemail drops, for handwritten cards, and for text messages. So the way it works is actually really cool. When you set up your account, we walk you through the steps. So like you would be prompted to record a voicemail drop, for example. And, you know, like I'll give you an example of a birthday message. Hey, it's me, Dan Stewart. Just wanted to reach out and say happy birthday. I hope you're awesome. Hope you're having a great day. Let's catch up when you have a few. You can reach me at, and my phone number, right? So I record that once. And now as the system sees these people's birthday coming, boom, that message can go out to those people. Same with a transaction anniversary, right? So Joe, I see your question there. He's saying, I'm set up for a meeting Monday with Happy Grasshopper. Will I still get this pricing? Absolutely. Yeah, we're not that kind of company where we're like, here's one thing, now there you get another. So of course, we'll honor this pricing. Jenny, you're asking, each time something goes out, are there choices of what we will send? There are, absolutely. So every single time it's time to choose a message, time to record a new holiday voicemail drop, time to send a quarterly lead harvesting text or voicemail, you'll have content that you can choose from, for sure. I'm going to take a sip and answer some more questions. Excuse me. Wow, it's like I've been talking for an hour. Yum, I needed a drink. Thank you, Maya. She says Gesundheit. Let's see here. I want to make sure I got questions. If you have more, keep them coming. Jill, great question. I missed this one. How does CHIRP differ from Happy Grasshopper? So CHIRP is the same technology that we use to run Happy Grasshopper. It's just designed for a singular purpose, and that's communicating with the people you're closest to, your past clients and your close sphere of influence. Now, Happy Grasshopper overall, we can solve all your messaging issues. We're most frequently hired by people who need lead conversion, people who need to recruit more people to their teams or their brokerages, and of course, people who need to communicate more effectively with their past clients and sphere of influence. All starts with the past clients and sphere. But certainly if you've got leads that you're generating, if you've got a pile of old leads that you'd like to convert, just go to happygrasshopper.com/tour and book an appointment with us. What we can do is assign one of our staff writers to interview you so we can learn what's really unique and special about you. And then we can position you appropriately to these leads that you've generated such that they'll decide that you're the person they want to work with. So some more questions are coming in. Let's get these answered here. Is there a Facebook group for Chirp? Kind of. I have a Facebook group. It's up at facebook.com/groups/what-to-say-now. And we hang out there. We answer our questions. We actually help people with content as well. Cami is asking, what if you don't have birthday dates or many anniversaries because you're new to the industry? That is a wonderful question. You're not going to have everybody's birthday. I don't have everyone's in my account. But you can use the system to collect this information from people. So, sending an email saying something like, hey, getting close to the end of the year, I'm doing a little database cleanup and I realized I don't know when your birthday is. How crazy is that? And you'll get a reply with their birthday, right? Lots of ways to do that. If you chose to, you could kind of stalk them a little bit on Facebook, see if they have their birthday information there. I did that for a few of my contacts that are on my Chirp list. Yes, PHBB Broker. Absolutely. There's a recording and we'll send that out. Thanks for joining us. Ton of good stuff here today. All right, guys. So it is, we are an hour and 15 in. Pam, great suggestion. Ask your lender for birth dates. They have that. Yeah, if you're consistently working with a mortgage lender, they're going to have that information. Many of them will be willing to share. That's great. So let's see here. Oh, Maya's just saying she'll edit and upload the video later today. We'll send out a link to this. So let's just do like a quick recap here, guys. Life is really simple when we recognize some truths, like who we are matter. The way we show up in the world makes a difference. And the way that we express that difference, the way we make an impact is through conversation. Like we have got to show up in the lives of people if we want to make a difference for them. So what I've done over the past 10 years is just really tried to focus on paying forward all the blessings I've been able to receive in my life. So what you'll see when you implement this process is that not only will you receive more transactions, and that's a great benefit, that's something easy to measure. It's harder to put a meter on your heart and to feel how good it is to have these connections and to see how people respond to you because they actually care. You actually have the ability to make that positive impact in the world. That's the greatest gift here, greatest gift. So Karen, I see your comment there. Don't know what to say, but we can certainly reach out to you after this. If you'd like to just, pop your phone number in there, I'll have a member of my staff give you a call. Thank you, by the way, trying to sign up for that annual plan. I appreciate it. Thanks for popping that number there. So let's see here. Thank you, Jenny. We'll do that as well. Marianne. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Wonderful. I'm glad that you're meeting with somebody here on Friday. It's probably Eric or Ken, or maybe it's even me. That would be cool. Murray says, we have for all parties we worked with in ID files for FinTrack. So those are the birth dates I'm assuming you're talking about. That's awesome. So Franco, thank you. Appreciate that. Now, one last thing here for those of you guys who are working on signing up. I don't know how many have signed up right now. I don't have that open because it's too distracting for me while also paying attention to this. Reevaluate. The reason we're restricting this to the annual plan is we have to pay for that data for the whole year. So they don't just monitor your contacts once, they monitor them continually throughout the year. allowing us to report those updates to you as they occur. So like on the dashboard inside the application, you'll see new people who are preparing to move. Like we put them front and center right where you can see them. Teresa, I love it. Thank you so much for saying that. She says, thank you, very helpful. This has got me recommitted to my top 100 list. That's what it's all about. Like, we don't need to influence tens of thousands of people to achieve our goals. We need to show up and make a difference for a few. It makes a massive, massive difference. So thank you, Teresa. I appreciate those compliments. And thank you, Julia. Appreciate that. Thank you, Cammie. Excellent. So folks, I'm going to just monitor this. I'll tread water for just a moment to answer some more questions if they come in. I think I'll go ahead and exit the screen share here. We'll just get my face on the screen for a moment. So thank you. Like, sincerely, please hear me express some gratitude. If you've been here from the beginning, you've just given me 1 hour and 20 minutes of your life. That's significant, right? I hope I've done my part by at least feeding your brain, if nothing else, at least giving you something to think about. If you got just one good thing out of this session today, that could be the thing that sets you on a whole new path towards the achievement of your goals. So thank you, everyone, for attending. I certainly appreciate it. Looks like we got a couple more have come in. Julia, we're going to email you a link to watch this recording. That'll be up later after the session. So that's coming. And Princess, you're welcome. Absolutely. I love your name. How often do I get to talk to a princess? That's great. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that. Awesome. 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 All right, guys. Well, guess what? It's time for me to sign off. Again, I sincerely appreciate and respect the time you've invested with me here today. Thank you. And of course, if there's anything I can do, please don't be shy. Here to help. Now, before I wrap this session, I just want to grab a screenshot here because I need to be sure that we've got Karen and Jenny's numbers just without having to go download or root around inside Zoom. We'll grab that. So, Darius, you're more than welcome. And thank you, sir, for your business. We're here for you. So one last call. If anyone else needs like personal one-on-one attention, if you'd like someone to call you right away, just drop your phone number in the chat right now. I'll screenshot that as well, and I'll make sure that you get called today. My cup is almost empty, so I must be out of talking juice. All right, Arlene, you got your number. Princess, you got your number there. Awesome. You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome, Arlene. Thank you. Shauna, thank you. Really appreciate that. Tony, thank you. Dropping your number there. We'll make sure we do that. All right, I'm going to take some more screenshots and just hang out a couple minutes longer, see if more come in. I see we got some stuff in question and answer too. Let me scroll down here. Oh, Michelle, gosh, I owe you an apology. So Michelle says, definitely not Mike. So I'm sorry if I called you Mike. And not quite what I was asking. Many people do not, quote, dial the number. They simply hit redial. Will that connect them to me, and will they incur a long distance charge? Same with text messages. Great questions. So when they hit redial, it goes directly to your number. Now, the number that you choose in our system is local to you. So if there are no long distance charges between them and your regular local number, there will be none in this situation. Exact same with text messages. So I gather you're probably in Canada. This is a great question, Michelle. If they hit reply, is it forwarded to a US number? Like, you don't want unexpected charges on their phone bill. Totally respect that. And that is not how it works. So you will have a local to where you are phone number, and the only charges they would incur would be just as if they made another local call. So sorry that I missed that one here. And Franco, you're asking, is there a Remax corporate discount? No, sir. This is our best pricing. That's what we're leading with here for you. No crazy sales, no extra special. Like the big special thing here would be loading in the gift of Revaluate. You're going to love that for sure. All right. So I think I might have all the questions answered here. Karen, do you feel putting in sellers that have left your area is worth adding? I'm going to say it depends on the relationship. So, you know, my highest goal, if I've generated a new lead, if I've got a past client, it's about the relationship first. So if you intend to have an ongoing relationship with someone just because they've moved out, I think they should be there. They're probably still connected to people locally who can refer you if we just look at it from a business situation. And yet I'd encourage you to look at it from a more holistic perspective. Like you really want to have that relationship with them? If the answer is yes, they should be in Chirp. They should be. Princess, awesome. She says she was with Happy Grasshopper from 2004 to 2006. Well, I don't know what changed in your world, but we'd love to reconnect, Princess. Absolutely. It'd be great. And Shauna, you're welcome. And yes, I am a guitar player. I am. Like some of you thought that was a fake background, didn't you? Now look what I've done. I was restringing my guitar and I broke a string. So I've got to get off to the guitar store to fix that. But this is my flow. Like I love this. I can't go a day without playing guitar. So I'm glad I have some others. All right, guys and gals and people of all persuasion, thank you. Again, thank you for your time, your participation today. I am going to wrap it up. So those of you who've entered your phone numbers, thank you for doing that. I will make sure that my staff or myself reaches out to you here before the end of the day. So hope you all have a great afternoon.